Hi everybody, Ben Packer coming from the old city of Jerusalem, Jerusalem Heritage House with our Packer on the Parsha. This week's Parsha is Bamidbar. We start the reading of the book of Numbers. And also, of course, happy Jerusalem Day to everybody. And we'll get to that in a second. So the Parsha starts with a census. The verses say, Hashem spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the tent of meeting on the first of the second month, in the second year after the exodus from the land of Egypt, saying, take a census of the entire assembly of the children of Israel. So they're doing a census. God orders a census. This is not the first census. Census is taken after the Jews initially leave Egypt, after the sin of the golden calf. Another census is taken, and now we have a third census. And there'll be another census taken later after the incident with Pinchas and the whole mess that was going on with the Midianites. These are very important events in the history of the Jewish people, and after each one, God demands a census to see where everybody's holding, who's still around, what's going on, right? Of course, God knows who's around. We need to know who's around. That's the point, right? God is telling us that we need to know who's around. But at the beginning of those verses there, it says that this happened in the second month. So the way we count the calendar, even though Rosh Hashanah is back in Tishrei, but when we count the calendar, it actually starts in Nisan, the month of Passover that we had a month ago. And so this month is actually the second month. So it corresponds with the Parsha, with the time of year that we're in. We're in the end of the month of Iyar, which is when this historically happened. I want to suggest that we see that there's this idea that after something important happens, you have a census. Jerusalem Day, the 6-Day War, and the things that happened as a result, one could argue was also a major historical event in the history of the Jewish people. Very hard to ignore that reality. And in a very appropriate way, we need to ask ourselves, who is still here? Who is with us? Those other events, certainly the event of the golden calf and the incident with Pentecost, were also controversial. There were also people within the Jewish people and without that caused problems. And the 6-Day War and our situation is very similar to that. And there are people within and without who want to cause problems and want to try to hold us back. But we need to understand who is with us. What are our numbers like? Not because of how many people we need, but who's with us? Who's with us and who's against us? That's basically what you need to know when you're going into a conflict. And we are in a conflict, and there's no way around it. So we need to know who's with us and who's against us. So pick a side and let's go. Shabbat Shalom.